Why do we suffer? And what can we do to fix it? These are the questions we all ask. It can really become the focus of most of our attention. Because as we're growing up, we're busy trying to please others and make our way through the world. Our focus is on the external, on getting everything in order, on getting validation from the world, on getting a career, getting money, getting safety, getting a roof over our head. And then midlife comes. And that can be any time from 30 to 80. And we've got those needs basically taken care of. And then we say, but wait, is this really me? Is this really my life? Am I living it, or is it living me? What I found was that it felt like it was living me. And I was in my late 40s, living most of my dreams that I had worked 20 years for, and still having panic attacks and wondering what I could do to fix it. If any of this rings true for you, my name is Eric. I am a mindfulness teacher and a 40-year veteran of the hero's journey. And today we're going to talk about my approach to mindfulness. It's 3 simple elements that you can use to look at your life and reframe the way you see yourself and yourself in the world around you. Mindfulness allows us to be with the experience we're having in any given moment. It's not a way to get to some kind of Zen state. It's a way to go more deeply into what is and explore that in a way that we can, there's the dog, learn more about ourselves and the world around us. There are 3 key elements to mindfulness as I see it. And these are the things that have worked for me and helped me to see the biggest transformation in my own life. The last one, I think you're going to be pretty surprised at what it is. First, it's curiosity. If we can bring curiosity to our experience, it allows us to bring that childlike quality of wonder and awe to anything we're going through. So instead of having the reaction that wants to come from, say, our conditioning or just the way we've always done things, we can choose to be curious. We can say, oh, I feel angry, but what is this? What is that desire to do X or Y, to act out or to hide? And when we bring curiosity to that, it keeps us from going to the extremes of apathy or restlessness. And apathy is like a disengaged numbness where we can tune out with drugs or whatever thing it is that allows us to just feel like we're not present in our own life. And then restlessness is the opposite. It's this unquenchable desire for pleasure, for some experience that we're not having. Curiosity lets us come to the middle and say, hey, what is this? And to be present in our own lives in a way that is active and engaged, but not at the mercy of situations or what's happening to us. Number 2 is compassion. Compassion isn't sympathy. It isn't empathy. It isn't pity. It's the felt sense that we are all in this together. And the extremes of the spectrum of compassion are shame on one end and judgment on the other. So shame is self-judgment, self-blame, internalized criticism. And judgment is harshness, the projection of our own stuff onto others, and othering in general. Like that other person, those other people are the problem. Well, when we look at the world with compassion, when we take a moment to take a breath and touch into that sense of we are all in this together. Red, blue, black, white, us, them. We're all in this together. That makes a huge difference in the way we experience things. For example, if somebody cuts me off on the highway, my first reaction used to be to throw my middle finger up right away. I was just like, you jerk, you're such a dummy. You are doing something that you shouldn't do. To judge them harshly. Here's the thing. I've cut people off on the highway. Accidentally, probably on purpose. Not in a long time on purpose. But we are all that person we judge at one time or another. And compassion reminds us that we are all in this together. So instead of throwing up that finger or actually reacting to whatever experience we're having, we can bring compassion along with curiosity to that experience and say, okay, what is this? We're all in this together. And now, here's the third one, the one I told you would surprise you. It's gentleness. Now, this one I think is especially important for men because the crisis of masculinity is really a crisis of curiosity, compassion, and especially gentleness. The extremes of not having gentleness in our life are having too much chaos or too much rigidity. And when we have chaos, we have a life that is disordered and completely without any structure. And it's something we're fighting against. Or we have rigidity, which is a life that is armored and controlled and suppressing, and we are keeping in place. Gentleness allows us to say, hey, what if I held this lightly? What if I held myself lightly, my image of myself lightly, my thoughts about others lightly, gently? What if I held this experience gently? It gives us access to so many more options other than our immediate reactive normal ones. Because really, that's what this kind of mindfulness is all about. Curiosity, compassion, and gentleness to see through our ideas of who we are and know more deeply who we really are. And as we start to get in touch with that authentic knowing, that's when these qualities naturally occur. In the meantime, they become like putting on goggles, a perspective that we can take to help to know who we are more authentically versus who we think we are. But once we start to actually know these things and we practice putting on these perspectives, practice bringing curiosity, compassion, and gentleness to our own experience, then it naturally arises on its own. And the expression of who we are becomes the way we live our life. And there's an alignment and a congruity to that that brings peace and the end of suffering. So, do you think you can be more curious, more compassionate to yourself and others, and more gentle? Here's the way this works. The curiosity goes to the mind. That mind-identified sense of self that wants to say, I know what this is. I know who I am. I know who you are. Well, when we bring curiosity to it, all of a sudden what we're saying is, maybe I don't know. Maybe I do, but I'm curious. What is this? And compassion works with the heart. It says, I am not shameful, and you do not need to be judged. It says, what if I opened my heart to all of this? What if I realized right now that we really are all in this together? So we're working with the mind with curiosity. We're working with the heart and emotions with compassion. And the gentleness, that connects them and brings it all together into a way of being that grows naturally, not forced, not held back, but naturally grows. Or as one of my favorite teachers, James Hollis, likes to say, it allows us to be nature naturing. If you want to know more about the way I teach mindfulness and start practicing curiosity, compassion, and gentleness for yourself, you can take my free 5-day course, The Clear Mind Quest. It's at clearmindquest.com. You can sign up there. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. What's your favorite thing about mindfulness? And how does the way I teach it resonate with what you know and think about it? I'm curious. Let me know. Thanks for watching.